All right, thank you very much for staying with us on the program. Let's now delve into the conversation proper. My guest joins me virtually from Benin, and I have Jimmy Oko. Jimmy Oko is an economist and a lecturer and the acting rector of the Shaka Momodu Polytechnic. Jimmy, it's a great delight to have you join us on the program.
Thank you very much, my brother. Good afternoon, and good afternoon to our viewers.
All right, we've seen the whole back and forth between the federal government through the state-owned oil company, the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, NNPCL, the local refineries, and the biggest refinery in Africa, the Dangote refinery, talking about the NAIRA-for-CRUDE policy for selling crude oil to the refining or the refineries, basically. There was an order that was given sometimes around November last year. It was more like a contract term for 3 months. That 3 months expired. It was renewed and all that. So when the other term expired, it seemed like nothing was being talked about it. The Dangote refinery had to go out to source for crude and bring back to Nigeria and refine. So, but recently, we saw the federal government saying that the NAIRA-for-CRUDE policy has come to stay. Now, the question we're asking now, with the NAIRA-for-CRUDE policy, are we going to see an alternative to cheaper fuel? Because if if they're selling this crude to the refineries in Naira, obviously it's supposed to be cheaper to an extent. Then when they refine, they sell to the major marketers, independent marketers. We're supposed to see the prices of this commodity dropping down from where it is right now, 960, 970, thereabout, to, let's see, 300, 400, fair enough. So do we see any positive insight ahead of the NAIRA-for-CRUDE policy between the federal government, the NNPCL, the local refineries, and the Dangote refinery?
All right. Thank you very much, my dear brother. I think, the process to making the country work is not magic, and it's a whole lot of procedure that must be embarked upon by determination and foresight. Those in government must first have the foresight, and they must have the determination to sustain whatever policy that are going to be taken. That is where we find results, and that is what is making better. Now, coming back to the NAIRA-for-CRUDE policy, I think that is, at the first instance, it wasn't even supposed to be something that will end. It's something that should continue, because that is, if there is no NAIRA-for-CRUDE, it means the government will not be set to be ready for deregulation of the downstream sector of the oil sector. So the whole system of deregulation boils down to the workability of the policy NAIRA-for-CRUDE. If at the end of the day you are saying there is deregulation, and at the end of the day there are refineries that still cannot buy the crude with their own domestic currency, it means that would be aberration. It will be very far from solution to the problem. I think we also understand the whole trouble that is around the forex in Nigeria. We understand the whole politics, that is played around the CBN and all other agents, other stakeholders, the secret stakeholders. We understand the secret deals that are carried out with the CBN to ensure that Naira, which has brought us to a situation where we see Naira always remaining very high, even when there are some kind of effort to reverse that situation. The result will just not come, because a whole lot of internal politics to benefit a few Nigerians that have been on. So if you are going to say that you are going to back NAIRA-for-CRUDE, it means you are only saying that these corrupt individuals, these persons who do not have the interest of the nation at heart, who are using the power of forex in secret arrangement to fight against the economy of the country, you are only saying that their influence should not come to spread on all Nigerians, which is going to be the opposite of what government should do. So NAIRA for crude is the best way to explain the regulation. It is the best way to explain the privatization. It is the best way to explain the determination of the government that we want oil to be produced here. Because you cannot have, in as much as you do not have a product, you cannot have a product and yet be happy to be importing it from other countries. You also will not want to be promoting the currency of another country in your country. It is, I think it will be foolish for us as Nigerians to say, yes, this is our product, our natural product that God has used to bless us. And we are saying that those who are refining it should buy it using currency that belongs to another man. That is, it doesn't tell well of a country. It does not show that we have individuals in government who understand the policies, the principles to make economy work. So send NAIRA for crude in a very simple term, my brother. It is what Nigerians have been waiting for. Okay. If Dangote refinery is able to buy crude with NAIRA, then the forces that go with the forest will not come to determine the price for him. It means, look at this. If you are forcing Dangote refinery or any other refinery that will come up to buy crude with forex, it means spend. You will have to go and spend money to secure the dollars. You need to buy dollars. And the bureaucracy in the system of getting it, outside the fact that it's embarrassing to popularize another man's currency in your country, the bureaucracy in it. This man is going to spend so much again to secure the dollar. And that is when he's now using the dollar to buy crude in his own country. Then at the end of the day, the cost of securing dollars is going to be factored into the pricing system. At the end of the day, the fair pricing thing will be very far from Nigerians. The only way we can promote better pricing of oil in Nigeria, the only way we can encourage these persons like Dangote, these companies that are refining oil in Nigeria, is to say, yes, at the easiest, if we cannot assure them to buy at the cheapest, I think we should be able to assure them the easiest process to get crude, which is spend in NAIRA, which is easily available to you. Okay. With that, then with time. The other time, you also mentioned that the price has also reduced.
The ex-depot price has been reduced from 880 naira per liter to now 825 naira per liter.
Yes, that is, my brother, even that is kind of an official thing.
Okay.
It's kind of an official thing. We are still waiting to expect, we are still expecting the effect. You know, in this, we still cannot say it is out of monopolistic system right now.
Okay.
Because just Dangote is coming in. The other day, there was news of Warri Refinery, Port Harcourt Refinery
on a shutdown.
Shutdown again.
Yeah.
Even if those boats are coming to continue operation, we should make the process attractive, competitive enough to attract other business people, other investors to come and build more refineries, whether small or big.
Absolutely.
We should encourage people to set up refineries all around. But only at that instance, we will now begin to have the advantages of large economy in our own country. Then when people are producing, the competition will be there. And this competition is all about cost reduction. Those companies who are able to reduce cost in both will certainly be able to sell their fuel at cheaper prices. And the competition will be on. That is the competition that will come to usher more benefit to Nigeria.
Okay. You said so much about this, but let's now look at the concluding part of this conversation now. Do you think that with the reduction of this price, the ex-depot price from 880 to 825 that is being sold now by the Dangote refinery, that we're going to see the effect in our petrol stations, whether independent marketers or major marketers? Would we definitely see, is it an alternative now, because that's what was cycling this conversation around, Naira for crude. Now the federal government has agreed that it's going to be Naira for crude. The Dangote refinery yesterday, after the meeting on Tuesday, Wednesday, came out yesterday to say, okay, they've reduced the ex-depot price again. Do we see the effect in the society generally that the price of PMS is going to come down from the 960, 950 selling now to say around 870, 860 thereabout? Do we see any side or some side ahead?
Ideally, it is supposed to be so. We're supposed to expect a reduction at which of price at which the product is sold to end users. That is the ideal situation. We expect that. But another thing is for us as a country to keep doing things that do not put Nigerians at the mercy of businessmen. That, like if these people decide, if they reduce their prices now, as we expect, we are going to say, fine, it is as a result of this reduction in the depot price, depot price. But assuming these people do not reduce,
absolutely,
what are we going to do?
Okay.
There's nothing that is going to be done. Why? Because these people may tell you, if the process of getting it from depot is not also very easy,
okay,
then these people are going to pass through a whole lot of bureaucracy that will involve releases of funds, payment irregularly and all that. And these people are going to tell you, what you heard of is so and so depot price officially. This is what you heard. But the process of getting it is going to involve certain costs. So because of this, we are not able to reduce further from this. So that is where the government needs to do more policy to make, number one, the availability is an issue. If we have Dangote should be encouraged to do mass production. The government should be negotiating with Dangote on how to produce even more than he has promised. Then the government should also do to ensure that the closed Port Harcourt refinery, they are working. If all these things are working, then the availability, first of all, it is all about a simple thing, that when supply rises, the price
will come down and the demand will rise as well.
So at the end of the day, people are going to be able to buy the product at cheaper prices. The government should make sure. We expect that the price will reduce. But even at that, the reduction is not what is going. It's not going to be satisfactory. It's not going to be up to the margin that Nigerians want. It's not going to be up to what will cushion the effect of all the problems that are in the land. What we need, we do a lot more to ensure that the quantity of fuel that is available rises, and bureaucracy of getting the oil from depot are also eradicated, so that the benefit will be larger.
Thank you very much, Jimmy Oko, for your insight. We just keep monitoring the situation and see how it works out, whether the petrol stations are going to reduce their sales of pump price to below the 900 is selling currently, even as the refinery itself has reduced the ex-depot price. Now we have Naira for crude policy. Want to appreciate you for your time on the show this afternoon. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much.
All right. That's the start of our package on the program for today. We want to thank you for your time, for being a part of the show. On behalf of my entire team, we appreciate you for joining us from start to finish. We'll be here again next week to do justice to the program. I'm Lawrence Osifo saying see you again. Bye for now.